Welcome back to a brand new edition of Clay Shooter TV with me, Simon, here at the Hownhall Shooting School in West Sussex. Today, we're going to be looking at the duck target. Pull! Okay, let's have a quick, in fact I'll tell you what Adam, I'm going to jump out the sun, just take it over to here. Brilliant. Welcome. Adam should be panning round. Beautiful day today, but not particularly great for filming. Okay, duck target. We touched on this in the old series, in the last series. Had quite a few questions on it. The challenge with an overhead target coming from behind is the fact that actually the main deal is controlling the gun dropping forward. So if you think of how we shoot most targets, the crossers, driven, quartering away, quartering in, the gun's usually left to right or, you know, slightly vertical or at a diagonal. It's very rare that we have a target where the muzzle actually has to drop. There are some stands where one would shoot low, sometimes with a rabbit stand or, you know, sort of a funky grouse type low crosser, but it's that action of actually mounting high and dropping forward, and that's the key on this target. So you've heard this a million times before: footwork, positioning, having the gun out of the hold point in relation to the target. You've worked on your mount, you pre-mounted, half gun down, full gun down, timing, yada yada yada. All of those things are generic, but the difference here is that muzzle management as you find the target and move with. It's coming up overhead, it's quite fast, and then it's slowly dropping away from you as it disappears into the distance. The unique, or sort of nuance if you like, here at Hownhall is that it's a very wooded stand. So everything sort of looks like it's in your face, and your time on the target almost seems slightly clipped. As ever, there is always that little bit more time. But the idea with this, irrespective if you're in a big open piece of ground, we want to try and get onto the target, move with it and chop it off. Try and get it sort of slightly earlier rather than later, just so you don't let it sort of, you know, form a slightly different sort of target, if you like. So muzzle's nice and high, eyes are fractionally higher or further back, target's coming through, inserting that muzzle neatly, moving with and taking the shot. Now, whether you put the muzzle on the bird and pull away, or whether you might put the muzzle in front to do a maintain lead, very difficult to do a swing through on this because you'd be mounting up behind and in effect blotting out the target. But working on the two styles that I think are best for it, it's then once we've mounted and we've inserted that muzzle either on or in front, that it's then controlling that movement, either matching the speed of the clay or pulling away, that is imperative to killing this target. Okay, so think of once we're in the cheek, irrespective of style, don't let the muzzle drop, don't bend the legs and do a sudden sort of, you know, angry sort of quick move and miss. Actually let the shoulders and the top half rock forward as you float with or away from said clay to take that shot. And remember, maintained is maintained, okay, but if it's pull away, the speed is only usually just that little bit quicker, nothing erratic that can get you missing in front or creating a stop. So quick highlight, all the generics in place, dependent on style, nice and high, eyes sharp, neatly insert, and then you're rolling the shoulders, the gun, the top half of the torso to either match or gently accelerate away from this target. Duck, very exciting, give it a go. I think you'll surprise yourself. I'm going to come back out the sun again, Adam, actually. It's getting quite warm. So look, a few shots, a couple of broken ones, which is always good news. What's the overview on this? It's that muzzle management, okay? So when you're trying this overhead target, yes, if you're in a big open area and it's a longer target, it might be a slightly lower, later shot. But generally speaking, with the overhead, the duck, having that muzzle up nice and high, eyes higher still, positive insert on or in front, depending on style, but then managing that muzzle, looking at those shoulders and that top edge, nicely moving with or gently pulling away from the target. I forgot my word there. I actually meant acceleration, coming away from the target in a nice controlled manner, slightly faster than the target itself, to take that really nice, neat shot. As ever, keep the practice calm, keep it little and often, and this is a target that anybody can shoot. Keep your eyes on the rest of the show. We've got Drennan coming up with another great gun review, and I'm sure there's some other bits and pieces shoved in there as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Welcome to Clay Shooter TV, and today I will be reviewing not one but two Rizzinis, the BR240 Sporting and the BR240 EL Sporting. And you can see just here straight away we've got one in a compact case and one in a standard flight case. In the compact case the EL version comes, and it is absolutely stunning as soon as you open it. Under here are the barrels. Beautiful. Such a nice case. It's so easy to work with these cases. And if you're like me and you're carrying a lot of guns, the compactness really does make a lot of difference for storage. And I actually prefer them. So I'll just assemble the EL version and we'll get to look at this a little bit closer, and then we'll put together the standard version, and as you'll see straight away, the typical standard case. But both of them are flight capable. Same again, your warranty, your night time reading, socks, chokes, exactly the same that's in that case. Oh, and in both the cases there's also a stock bolt removal kit. So let's put this one together as well. So as I said, both the cases are capable of being able to be put on to an aircraft because they're lockable, which is nice. So we'll start with the BR240 Sporter. This is new for 2024. The action in this, on this, is exactly the same as that. All the internals are identical. It's just a few features that are different. The stocks on both of them are grade 2.5. Got a tight radius pistol grip with a palm swell. What I do like about these stocks from Rizzini is they're not chunky, but you feel that there's a lot of timber there. You get some of these stocks these days now and they've been far too whittled down, I would say. The grip with the pistol grip and the palm swell with 26 pinches per inch on the checkering, which is a fine kind of checkering. So when you hold it, you get that lovely grip without that cheese grater feel on it. And it places your finger on the trigger perfectly. Coming onto the trigger, you can get these in fixed trigger and you can get it also as an adjustable trigger. We've got in both models the fixed trigger. They are identical other than that this on the Sporter is in black and on the EL it is in silvery gold. Rose gold, I think you'd probably call that. Moving on. The standard length of pull is 14 3/4 on both of them. They're identical. You could take that stock off and it'll fit onto there. Single selective trigger ejector. So it's nice and easy to select which barrel you want first. Bottom barrel, top barrel. And the finish on this is where they've put the checkering on that. So when you put it, your thumb on it, it's really good. It's a nice purchase, that is. You get some guns and they're like really cumbersome. And I've said very often, the safety can make a really nice gun turn into a bit of a, if it's either that cheap feel or it's too big, too small, too thin. But that's really nice. You can operate that in the cold weather, wet weather. That's really good actually. Moving on. The action is a Cerakote finished action in black. And for this year in 2024, it's got this beautiful gold outline of the action. It really accentuates the style of the action and it brings out that matte black Cerakote finish and the silver name BR240 really stands out actually. And it stands out and they actually advertise this as quite plain. I don't think it's quite plain at all. I think it looks really nice actually. Back to the trigger again. This is the non-detachable version. So it's a fixed trigger in there, in the block, so you can't take it out and clean it like you can on the next models up. One other thing about the trigger is anybody can do this, to adjust the poundage of pressure to get the gun to fire. You take the stock off and there's a little pin in there and you can move it. It's about as difficult as Lego 6 Plus to do. The top lever, it's got a lovely length to it. You see some of these top levers and there's no length to them. Or they're that long, they're just over the top. And again, the purchase on this for opening the gun, that checkering on that is lovely. You can open that in any way. And listen to that for quality. That's lovely. Moving on to the barrels. Now the barrels, you can get these in 28, 30 and 32. You can also get it in 34 inch for a price of an extra £300. Now it's double ventilated, so it's built for proper sporting shooting. So if you've got it nice and hot like I do when I'm shooting, it'll vent off really nice and easy. The top rib is the 11 to 8 mil, so it's a tapered rib with a white bead at the end. And it's hatched, so it's got no glare on the rib, and finish on these barrels is absolutely stunning. And you'll know that on most multi-choke guns, when you come to the muzzle end, they flare out. This is so parallel. Beautiful finish on the blue end. The fore end is a rounded fore end, and again back to 26 lines per inch on the checkering, so it's nice and smooth. And it's full panel, both of them, full panel fore ends. So it doesn't matter where you put your hand, if you back on the fore end, middle of the fore end, front of the fore end, or if you shoot like George Digweed does and he's up and down for whichever third style he's shooting at the time. It's smooth in the hand, but grips. This is a beautiful looking gun. Multi-choke, comes with 5 chokes. You can get extended versions. So if you buy one of these new, you have the option of either flush or extended. So let's move on to the EL. Now this clearly isn't a plain looking gun. This has all the same working parts as the 240 Sporter, but the EL version, let's be honest, that's stunning, isn't it? Scroll engraved, and it's hand finished as well, I'm told. Got the lovely Rizzini logo in there. Absolutely beautiful gun. The engraving on the top lever isn't plain, it's lovely engraving on there, and all the way around the stock tang as well. As I said, the trigger's a different colour than the Sporter, but other than that, this gun is identical. I can tell you, I've weighed both of these guns and they're both 8 pounds 2 ounces. If anybody knows anything about shooting, you might have the same gun with the same weight, but they feel different, and these both feel very different. But the most important thing is, how do they actually shoot? Well, we're going to find out in a minute, and I'm going to see you on a shooting stand. What's my conclusion on the BR240 Sporting and the BR240EL? Both of them, as I said, are identical other than the engraving on the deep scroll, or this, what they class as a plain black action with some gold around it, which I actually think is really pretty, to be quite honest. So what did I miss out? 3-inch chambers, so it's full take high performance steel, chrome lined. Wow. You can get adjustable cone for it. And then there was the one thing I really left out to the last point, because when Rizzini contacted me and they gave me the price for this and then for that, I actually questioned them and I went, did you give me the right price? So, 2 guns, totally different in how they look, and as I said in the beginning, they do handle different, which I'll come on to in a second. Full competition grade gun. The triggers on these are amazing. There's no creep on the trigger when you fire it. You get some guns and there's that pull. I like it. It's crisp, it's tidy, and they're both the same. So you haven't got a different pull of pressure on the one barrel than the other. I like that. But the big thing for me is about the price at the moment, because this one here, there, oh, grade 1, is 3,600. Now, I've been in the shooting game a long time, and then a lot of people are going to go, oh my God, well, this has got to be like, 1,000, 1,500 more. This one, believe it or not, is £4,050. Now, beauty is always in the eye of the beholder. but for just over £400 compared to that one, that's a difficult one. How do they shoot? They both shoot different, and that will be really down to the characteristics of the wood. Some people are going to like one more than the other. Which one do I prefer? Just as they are. Well, believe it or not, I actually prefer to shoot the Black Action, the Sporter. It just has a little bit more smoothness to it for me, the way the recoil comes back. And I know that's down to, but we are talking about stuff that, no disrespect to most shooters that probably wouldn't notice. However, which one would I choose? I choose this scrolled one. It's just beautiful, and it does look like a gun that should be considerably more expensive. Would I change anything about them? I personally would. I'd have the adjustable trigger put in, because I like to be able to adjust both the length of grip and the length of pull. So if you are going to buy a new one, I certainly suggest you have that option. However, saying that, you might find that the length of pull as it is, which is 14 3/4, they're both 8 pounds 2 ounces, is just ideal for you. Perfect. You can get this as an extra with an adjustable comb. You can get stock weights, you can get barrel weights, you can really pimp it out as much as you want. They even do a skeleton stock version of this, but we'll stick to the walnut. And to be quite honest with you, I think when I pulled my face a little bit this morning in surprise when they said it was a grade 2.5, actually I'll give Rizzini, because it is a 2.5, it's not a 2 and it's not a 3. And where they're priced in the market, I'm not sure I can really think of another gun that's got this quality and handling capabilities. Really? No, I can't. So they're there with the marketing, certainly with the price. The only thing I would change, as I said, the trigger. I'd have an adjustable comb, because I like adjustable combs, and I'd have extended chokes, which when you buy a new one of these, you get the choice of either flush or extended anyway. And the flight cases are, well, I do a lot of traveling. They're superb. The quality of them is fantastic on those cases. I know that I can bundle them in the backs of Range Rovers and Jeeps and Boeing 747s and things like that, and they're going to last a very, very long time. The Cerakote finish is beautiful. So it's a very versatile all-weather gun that is beautiful to shoot. Really, they've got a lovely glide to them. But out of the two, I would go for that one purely on looks. Out of how it shoots, that one, but we're talking minute stuff. And to be honest with you, I don't think anybody would be disappointed in either of these. I think they're so different in their contrast. They're just both absolutely stunning guns, and a very forgiving gun to shoot, which, to be honest, a lot of shooters need that forgiveness. It's all right going to certain Olympic level kind of guns, but there isn't many Olympic level shooters, let's be honest, out there that can shoot those particular guns. And as I said, these are forgiving. If you make a mistake, very easy to adjust, and you can shoot these all day, either on clays, sporting, well, any of the disciplines. You can get this in a trap version, I believe, as well, which also then, just very quickly go back to the rib, you can get this in a flat rib, a step rib, an adjustable rib, all extras if you wanted to do that. But as a gun, straight out of the box, with a few little tweaks here and there, you could literally go to war with it. This is definitely a podium finishing gun, and I really like it. And on that note, I'll see you again. Welcome to Clay Shooter TV, where today I will be reviewing Lyalvale Express's English Sporter. And the English Sporter comes in both fibre and plastic wad. Now, the fibre has a green label on it, and the plastic has a white label on it, which is great really, isn't it? That tells you straight away, being green, eco-friendly and all that jazz. The other thing that separates them as well is on the case, it'll have fibre or it'll have plastic. But today we're going to be reviewing solely the fibre cartridge. So what is the English Sporter? It's in the description, isn't it, really? English Sporter, so it's designed for sporting. And it comes in a 1 ounce load, or 28 gram, depending on how you like your weights and measures. Shot sizes are 7.5, an English 8, and a 9, with 3% antimony. And with it being 3% antimony, it's a clear separation from 5%, where most of your competition and high grade cartridges are. So this is set at your club and a recreational shooter, not your full competition shooter. Onto the case. If you look at the case, it's just, well, it's nothing exciting, is it? So 70mm solid red with an 8mm ferrule. Now I can already hear the people with semi-autos go, 8mm ferrule, that'll mean that it won't work in a semi-auto. Well, a little bit later on in the footage you'll get to see whether that's true or a myth, because there's quite a few myths about this shell. So what's in this 70mm solid red case? Well, as I said, it's the fibre, so it's got a Diana fibre wad, and the Diana fibre wad is probably one of the best conventional fibre wads anywhere you will get. But what does a fibre wad also need? It needs an overcard, they call them in the industry, or an obturator, and there's still people baffled by what that means. This is what separates the powder from the wad, but the obturator, or the overcard in this case, is your gas seal as well. So gas, fibre, lead out the end, and then it's up to you whatever pattern you put it in. Now, one of the things that I have been told by a few people is that this cartridge is a little bit on the thumpy side. I'm not going to say whether it is or not in this, that'll be in the conclusion. But I will say this, it does have a single base powder. So the fact that it's thumpy leads me to go, could it be? Well, we're going to find out. So, because I've been told a few things about this cartridge, both good and bad, I have decided to also bring along the Browning 5.2 composite, which is probably one of the lightest 12 gauges on the market, and to see what it behaves like through that, along with a semi-auto. It will probably be my UGB. So we've got a full competition gun. That's a very capable gun. It's more of a, what I call, people in the recreational side of shooting would use anyway. Now, the Alchemist at Express has told me that this cartridge is really designed for this side of 40 yard, 35 really, but he has asked me, can I please go and stretch its legs? So although that we've got a target on that's 40 yards, and we've actually measured this with some proper surveying equipment, so all the people out there, they're going to go, oh, that's not 40 yards, that's 37.5, all the other ones, they go, it's more like 80. No, it's actually bang on the money at 40 yards. So that's the maximum that this cartridge is designed to do. So, as I said, we're going to get to see what it can do through an over and under, and me shooting a UGB, so we're going to find out its capabilities of ejection and performance. So I will see you on a shooting ground. So what's my conclusion of Lyalvale Express's English Sporter in the fibre. As I said, they do it in plastic, but today I've shot the fibre. Well, before I got it, a lot of people said this cartridge is and some people even went so far as to say it doesn't eject very well. You'll see from the footage that I've used my UGB, and we never had a single feed jam with that. We used the Browning U525 composite, and it ejected out of that perfect. So we'll just deal with that myth straight away, that it is a myth. What's it like to shoot though? Well, again, I heard rumours that this is really thumpy, it knocks you about, and when after you've shot 100 of them, you need to go and see a dentist, and B, a chiropractor. No, that's just a load of God's wallops as well, and probably said by people that have shot really poor on the day. And you know who you are, blaming the tools instead of your ability. But what did it shoot like in my hands as a professional? Well, I'll tell you now, I lied. In the intro I said that we weren't going to shoot it above 40 yards and we'd measured that distance. Well, here's the fib. We actually shot it out to 50 yards, and did it kill the clay? Yes, it did. Did it kill it all the time? No, it didn't. Which didn't surprise me because it's not designed to go out that far, but it did kill it about 80% of the time. Some of it could be pilot error as well, but I will tell you this, everything this side of 40 yards, it killed everything, all of them, with the UGB and with the Browning 525 composite. We went through a range of chokes as well, from skeet to quarter, all the way up to 3/4, and the kills are different. The footage will probably show you that as well. Now, a lot of people say that fibre cartridges don't actually work. Now, I think the word actually is a bit over the top, because as you will see, I turned everything into dust today with these. Does it perform like a plastic one? Absolutely not. No, it doesn't. But using the Diana wad and the Diana obturator, I don't know of another wad system other than the green corp, but that's a different story altogether, that can get that gas sealed in the way that we want it. Does it seal as well as a plastic? No, and all manufacturers will tell you that as well. But in a backboard gun, the performance up to 40 yards was spot on. It is exactly what they say it is. It is a cartridge designed for a recreational shooter, club shooter. I can't think of a club anywhere in England, well, the UK actually, and certainly across the seas, because when the Americans see this, I think they'll probably call this not the English sport, they'll probably call it the red, white and blue. And why not? So overall, with that 3% antimony, you will see that the kills are very good. Now, another thing that I've heard about this cartridge, a lot of negative things that are all being turned around the opposite way, is the people that say that they burn really dirty. Well, I've looked down the barrel of my UGB and I've looked down the barrel of the 525, and there is no traces of unburnt powder or anything like that. Is there a few marks in it? Of course, that you'll get from any cartridge. Even if you're shooting the most expensive cartridges in the world, you are going to get some marks fouling in the barrel, but certainly not anything like what I've heard. And that's down to that single base powder. Now, the powder also performs very crisp. I will say this, I can understand that some people might say it's a bit thumpy. I don't think it's thumpy, it's a bit more crisp, and it does have that extra push. But it's a club cartridge. You're not going to get the performance of a top super cartridge competition or singing and dancing. You're just not. It's a Carlin Black Label as opposed to a Stella Artois. And I can't fault it for what it's designed to do. If you ask me, would I go and shoot like the British Open with it, I think it might struggle with certain targets. If you ask me to go and shoot any club shoot, as I've already said, it's going to turn them to dust, as long as you can put it in the right place. So you've got to take it off to Express here for coming out with a cartridge that just looks, well, red, white and blue. It's quite a plain Jane. They're not trying to make it look anything that it's not, because it certainly doesn't perform like that either. So they've ticked all the boxes by the visuals and by its performance. I think it's a really good shell actually. And on that note, I'll see you again.